How about those Hogs? They knock off Kentucky at Rupp Arena on Saturday. How about Wednesday? Can they take down those dreaded Horns? On this edition of the Hog Central Podcast, Ernie and Coach Z weigh in.
This is the Hog Central Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Sullivan.
Welcome to this edition of the Hog Central Podcast. A pleasure to have the walk-on wonder from Wabaseka, Ernie Murry, part of that great 1990 Razorback basketball team, and Mr. Razorback Sports, decked out in his red today, celebrating that big win, Coach Z. All right, guys. Coach Cal has had a lot of great team victories. But let's face it, Saturday was all about him versus Kentucky. I mean, the build-up, the hype, the atmosphere. You were there, Z. And then he delivers a performance that, hey, none of us saw coming. May have saw a little of it coming, but not 13 threes and 50-something% from the floor. An incredible defense, and they answered every Kentucky run in the second half. It was a wire-to-wire incredible performance.
Z, I'm going to let you go first today.
All right, Ernie, thank you. It was an incredible performance, and, you know, I'm always worried about everything. It came from my coaching background. Chuck Barrett always would say that, you know, we could be up 15 points with a minute left, and I was still worried if we could lose the game. And something about this game, though, early on, I was like, we're better than them. And we were playing so well. We were playing confident, hitting shots, as you just said, Sully, 13 of 25 from the three. That's incredible. And with about 6:50 to go in the game, Mike Haywood sits beside me, our media relations guy. He was saying some stuff. I'm worried, blah, blah, blah. And I was on the air, so I couldn't talk back. And I wrote down on a piece of paper, Ernie, and I slid it over to Mike sitting beside me. I said, start the bus.
Yep.
I never say that. And Mike got so mad at me. And we go to the commercial. He said, I can't believe you said that. You jinxed us. I said, there's 6:50 left. There could be 40 minutes left. Yeah. We're better than them tonight. They're not beating us on this night. We're playing too well. And he took I keep a little Ziploc bag with pens and Scotch tape and the whiteout in it. He dug the whiteout out of my Ziploc bag that I have sitting there. Ernie, he took the whiteout. I don't know, no one even knows what whiteout is anymore.
Yeah, I know what it is.
And he whited out on the piece of paper where I said, start the bus.
Wow. Well, you know, I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it. Kentucky came off an emotional win against Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I think, really, they didn't have much in the tank. I'm going to say this on the air. Kentucky got the worst defense I've ever seen on point guard. You go left, come back right, and go to the hole. Kentucky, to me, is just not a good defensive basketball team. But the
Worst in the SEC, Ernie. Worst in the league.
But the Razorbacks played great. We made shots. We played with energy. You know what I like? When Coach Cal came out with 5 minutes before the game, I'm like, he must know something.
Yeah. Well.
Hey, and it was a great atmosphere, great win. Let's not take nothing away from Arkansas. This is the first time this year this basketball team has played 2 halves.
Hey, I almost jumped out of my recliner when Nelly faked a 3 and went inside and then popped it from the free throw line. I said, whoa. And talk about
He made a pull-up.
Yeah. Hey, Pope said after
He made a pull-up.
Mark Pope said something after the game. They asked about Nelly. He said he was a ball-dominant player at Florida Atlantic, and this is only his 3rd game being in that same position at Arkansas. And he said, quote, he's a great player who's only going to get better at the end of the season. That's his belief, that he's now getting comfortable in the role where, I mean, after they were throwing the ball to him and he would circle one way, he'd circle the other way. He had the ball a lot.
He had to run 5 miles in that game, so.
Yeah.
But, you know, I like what he did. He made a couple threes.
Yeah.
Then he started attacking the basket, and he made some twos. He got some crucial steals. He had a couple really, really bad turnovers for a guard. I think he jumped up in there a couple times and he didn't know what to do. We won the basketball game on hard grit and attacking the basket, and we got to give it to Thero. When they made a run, Thero always was there to get the big rebound. He got fouled. We made free throws. Every time they made a run, we answered.
How about DJ Wagner? Since he's assumed the point guard duties, he's a different player. In that second half, he was 7 of 8 from the floor. Hit a couple of threes. I think he was 2 of 2. He was good handling the ball. And I thought his pressure on the ball may have been the difference in the game because Kentucky wasn't the same team. And one thing we do, we apply good ball pressure all over the court. And I think that's the thing that could carry over. But DJ Wagner looked like a different player.
Yeah, he did. And you got to give him credit. I don't know if it's because Boogie is gone, but he has the ball back in his hand. And I must say this, we're a much better basketball team when Wagner runs the show. He gets everybody going. He got the team going and he got himself going in the second half. And I think that was just great, great basketball. We playing now as a unit versus individual, and I like where we are right now. I just hope we can carry that into Wednesday night. Big, big game. But, hey, I'm so happy we beat Kentucky.
Hey, Z, your thoughts on Wagner making that move to just full-time point guard?
Yeah, I don't want to say anything against Boogie because we know how great of a player Boogie is. He's a good on-the-ball defender, not a good defender away from the ball as much. And now we got more guys helping, more guys digging in, guys helping on other people's drives. He's a great offensive player. We've had struggles without him on offense, but it has helped DJ in some ways for sure. And it's helped the team some ways for sure. I think we're better on defense, and I think we rebound better. We've been out-rebounding people since he's been out or hanging in the ballpark with him and getting out-rebounded like we did the other night, only by 3 rebounds, 33-30. So I think defense and rebounding, it's kind of helped us. And we now have a different point guard who's looking to kind of facilitate and do some stuff. And he's also a point guard that can go get you 17 or 18 points. DJ's been incredible. And I don't think that's against Boogie at all. It's just those guys have stepped up with Boogie out. I do think Nelly is better. He has stepped up since Boogie's been out, and he's playing a lot better. And you talk about 5 guys scoring in double figures in Rupp. That's outstanding. Again, Kentucky, the 16th best team in our league on defense, but the 2nd best team in our league on offense.
Yeah.
And we did a good job on our defense.
Hey, look at their numbers in the second half. Look at their offensive numbers in the second half. They shot below 40%. I think they were 2 of 13 on 3%. I think the pressure Arkansas put on them, not only just the first half, but the second half, showed in that second half. Outside of dumping into the big guy, they didn't have much offensively in the second half.
And that's why
they made 7 threes in the first half, and they only made 3 threes in the second half.
Yeah.
Legs.
The defense was so much better.
Coach Richardson used to always say, when you play that late game on Wednesday night, and then you turn around and you play that game on Saturday, by the second half, your legs. Look at them in the second half, how many unforced turnovers and just how fast we were out hustling them to the basketball. We got all of the loose balls in the second half, and that's what you want. And I did like one thing I saw in this basketball team late. The little scramble, the little scrimmage, when the guys got into it, we didn't back down. And I like that. I really was proud of our team. I didn't want them to fight, but I did want to let them know, hey, we're not afraid of you.
Yeah, Billy Richmond.
Yeah, you're not going to be in front of our bench and our huddle.
Yeah,
the referees were taking a little too long getting that the sub in and all that. But and I love Amari Williams. Man, what a great player.
How is the
I'm agree with you on that, Ernie. It was kind of nice to see our guys. No one threw a punch or anything, thank goodness. But our guys were like, hey, you're not going to get pushing in over here right in front of our bench without us kind of bowing up too. So I think that did make a statement. But the game was over by then. I love the long delay. Speaking of that, Ernie, there's 1:06 or 1:08 left, and there's a 5-minute review. And Chuck was getting a little frustrated. I was like, Chuck, this is the best thing that ever happened. Yeah. John Calipari and Brad Calipari and Bruiser Flint and Padu Thero and Zavonimiri Wiesing, they're loving this. We're smacking these guys.
Yes.
They're getting to stand on the Rupp Arena court for an extra 5 minutes, and we're beating them pretty darn good.
Yeah.
That was a great feeling for them. I know it was a great feeling for me, and it was really an awesome night. It was fun. I'll remember it a long time. Great victory for the Razorbacks. I've seen us win in there, I think, 5 times now, and I had someone at Swatters Club ask me if it was the biggest win I've been a part of, and I was like,
how does this compare to Nolan that first time when he went and beat Kentucky? The hype for that game.
To me, that win was huge, and with Lee and Todd and Big O, because it was our first year in the league and Kentucky had ran the SEC. I think that win was bigger for the Razorback program.
Yeah.
I think this win was bigger for our head coach, his staff, and for 5 of the players that had ties to Kentucky. It's still a huge win for the Razorbacks. Right. Is this the biggest win in Razorback history? Come on now.
No,
come on now.
Yeah.
We've been to 6 Final Fours. Don't come up and ask me that. Is this a big win? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a
huge win for the kids.
Win.
Right.
Yeah, this was probably Cal's Super Bowl because this was all about him.
Well,
it wasn't about Kentucky versus Arkansas. It was all about him on the pregame show Saturday morning. It was the long interview with Jimmy Dykes, and then the lead up to the game and him walking out. And how was the reception? You were there. If you had to give it a percentage call, how many were clapping, how many were booing? Was it pretty even, or?
I think it's a hard thing, maybe 50-50. I was, when he came out, and there's always reporters. You've been there, so there's always reporters around the baseline anytime. There's fans that line up to see the Kentucky warm-ups. There was that again, but this time instead of having 20 cameras down there was 100 cameras.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was 100, but there was 50, 60 of them. And they were all around the Arkansas bench. When he came out from where Chuck and I are sitting across the court from the bench, I couldn't even see Cal. But you knew he was out there because all the cameras were moving, and the cameras were 2 and 3 deep and all trying to get a view of him. When they announced his name, which is during the lineups, I was watching the crowd over there, and a lot of them were just standing there. A lot of them were just standing, not clapping, not booing. You heard, I took my headsets off. There was booing for sure, especially from the student section. There was loud booing. There was also some cheers for Coach Cal. So it was a mixture. I'd say 33%, 33% booed, 33% cheered, and 33% just stood there and took it all in.
You know, and another thing that I really liked was the 3 guys that came from Kentucky.
Oh, wow, yeah, all 3
all
played great.
All 3 played great. And what a way to go back. And you go into the visiting dressing room and come out and play like that. But I like when they was introducing their name. Each one of the Kentucky transfers was smiling. And I was like, that's what you do. And then we went out, and those 3 guys played the best game as Razorback as a combination since they've been there. Just all 3 of them was clicking.
Hey,
great game.
The reality with this team is they don't do a lot of talking. They just play.
They play.
I mean, they could have at the end really stuck it to those Kentucky fans, but they just played. Hey, and one thing I have to stop us here, call a timeout here in the middle is it's 1 win. You're going to be an underdog in 4 of your next 5 games. Texas it's all about matchups in the college basketball, and I think that just shows you from game to game. But Texas is loaded with guards. They got that Trey Johnson. They got Tremont Mark. They got Pope. It won't be as easy for our guards working against Texas, but that's the reality, Z, that it's 1 good win. Yeah. But you're in a gauntlet now for the next 5 games. You go to A&M, you go to Auburn. You're going to be underdog in 4 of those 5 games.
Yeah, but it goes back to I thought this before the conference season. The teams are so good already, and the league's so hard. But I think this is the best time to ever be a head coach in our league. I think it's the easiest time to ever be a head basketball coach in the SEC. And you're like, is this guy nuts?
No, you're
correct. Is he on drugs? He just said it's easy. Well, this is why it's not that bad. We're 2-6. Now we're a team that's looking like going to be in the NCAA tournament. I coached a 10-8 team one time and didn't get in.
Yeah.
I coached an 11-7 team one time and didn't get in. You go back and look at the books.
Wow.
There's been teams in our league that went 12-6 before and didn't get in. Now they're saying, Lenardi's saying you can win 6 or 7 league games. That means you can just say you win 6 and you lose 12. You might still get in, depending on what you do in the conference tournament. This is the best time because 13 or 12 teams are going to get in. You know, how about if you're coaching in the Sun Belt? One out of 13 is going to get in.
Yeah.
Now 13 out of 16. So you got so many opportunities. I mean, we were bad in a lot of games, but we were great against Michigan and Kentucky.
The big games.
And we're going to get in.
Right.
And this Arkansas team will get in.
And, you think about this.
This Arkansas team will get in.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
What do you see as the wins looking at that schedule going down the pipe here?
Well, Well, I never think we're going to lose at home.
Yeah.
So if we're good enough to beat Kentucky and beat Michigan, we should go 5-0 at home.
Yeah, you got a
Alabama's not
Wednesday
undefeated.
night at Texas late, and then you flip around. The good thing is Saturday is an evening game
It's
against
late,
Auburn,
too.
and they'll be juiced with that crowd. But Auburn's going
Auburn
to
will be a very hard game.
Yeah.
Very hard game.
Yeah.
Now
Very hard
we
game.
play Alabama on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Alabama. But one thing,
Alabama, I'm sorry.
They
play
keep
Auburn
saying
tomorrow.
they keep saying Texas is a lock. They 15-7 and 4-5 in the conference. How are they a lock for the
Yeah.
NCAA tournament?
Well, that's why I say, Ernie, this is the best time to ever coach
Yeah.
in the SEC. If you can be
Wow.
2-6 and 4-5 and be a lock, that's a beautiful, beautiful league to coach in.
You're exactly
Let me
right.
coach in this league every day.
Yeah, you're exactly right. But you know what? I looked at Texas play Ole Miss, and they should have beat Ole Miss at Ole Miss. Gave the game away late, and they went down to LSU Saturday and just demolished LSU. I'm like Sully a little bit. I'm worried about Texas because they present so many problems for you. Trey Johnson, to me, is a definite lottery pick. And you talk about Trayvon Marks, who is a former Razorback, playing the Razorbacks. He's going to be excited. And 3 out of their 5 starters are transfers. The big man is from Virginia.
Kaluma, yeah.
And so we're going to be playing grown men's on Wednesday night, and I think they got a circle on their calendar. And we need to go down there and hit them in the mouth just like we did Kentucky.
Yeah, how about winning at back-to-back at Kentucky and Texas?
Oh, man, that would be great. We could do that. Oh, man, that would be great.
Well, they're going to go down there, Z, with a mindset that they can beat anyone now because they're feeling good, and Coach has got them feeling good.
Yeah, the confidence is going to be through the roof. We got in late. We got in about 2:30 in the morning on Sunday morning. They were players' day off on Sunday, so they could all just sit around and feel good, get some rest. I know some of them did some rehab. Some of them went in to shoot some. You practice Monday, practice Tuesday, travel on Tuesday. You don't play till late on Wednesday night. Get some rest and go beat the Texas Longhorns. It's a winnable game. It won't be easy. Texas has lost at home. I watched UConn beat them at Texas. They've struggled at times this year to score. They've been inconsistent. There's questions about their depth, but they also have, like you said, Trey Johnson, who's one of the best freshmen in all of America, a great player. And Rodney Terry is, he's interesting. Rodney Terry was a longtime assistant there, even under Rick Barnes, good assistant. He was at Fresno State. We played him here in Bud. He was at Fresno, and then he was at UTEP. It didn't end well for him at either place. He goes back to Texas to be an assistant, and then he becomes the interim head coach, and he did well with a very talented team. He became the head coach when Chris Beard got in trouble down in Austin. And so he took advantage of that with an outstanding team that they had. He got named the full coach. But now it's his team fully, and we'll see. And I'm interested to see their new building in a regular season game. And you know what I want to see, Sully? I want to see like in 1990 when the Hogs were beat and it was over with. Yeah. Willie Nelson was there, and it was done. And they make 90% of their free throws. BMW, Blanks, Mays.
Right.
Joey Wright, Lance Blanks, Travis Mays. It's over with.
Yeah. And
they missed some free throws, and Lee Mayberry hit a 35 between the legs.
And who went and got Nolan?
Matt went and got him.
Texas. Hey, won't you foul him?
Who went and got Nolan?
I went and got Coach. But you know what I saw? In overtime, I saw Ernie Murry from Wabasika. Behind the back.
You remember that?
Behind the back. Was it to Lindsey Howell for the dunk?
Yeah.
Or was it to Ron Hury?
Lindsey Howell.
The late Lindsey Howell. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
And we smacked them in overtime. One of the great wins.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Hey, football fans, the college football playoffs are here, and the Triple Option Podcast is your go-to source. Be sure to join Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram II, and I each week as we march closer to Atlanta and crowning a new college football national champion.
We love playing Texas anyway. Coach Cal probably don't know the history of it, but we love beating Texas. Probably more than anybody because they fans are a little cocky, and when they play, they always talking about how many times they beat the Razorbacks. And it would be great for these kids just to see some of the game action and go down there and whoop those Longhorns. If there's a team I want to beat more than anybody, it's the Texas Longhorns.
Hey, what was it like being a walk-on and getting to play with Todd Day and Lee Mayberry and Lindsey Howell?
Well, I never will forget this. Coach Richardson told me Todd got 2 arms, he got 2 legs, and he got 2 eyes. Lee got the same thing. They got human limitations. They're going to kick the ball out of bounds. You go out there and compete with them. And, hey, once I saw Lee Mayberry put his shorts on one leg at a time and tie his shoes up, I say, hey, he's human. Lee Mayberry was a McDonald's All-American. I wasn't even a Burger King All-American. But those guys really made me better in practice because you competed every single day. And Matt Zimmerman, Coach Zimmerman can tell you this. Coach Richardson didn't care who played. It was whoever was getting the job done.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. What a great memory.
Ernie Murry was not a walk-on. I mean, that was just a name.
I could have been on scholarship, but I'd rather be a walk-on.
You were a preferred walk-on.
Yeah, preferred walk-on.
Oh, he was definitely that. I mean, he was brought there to play. But
I was brought there to play.
He didn't care about any of that, Sully. He really did not.
No, he was fair. Yeah, he was fair. But, Z, you know, this basketball team is coming together. You said it earlier at the right time. You know, 1 win, and now they're talking about you a 10 seed in the tournament. That is amazing to me. And 2 weeks ago, everybody said Arkansas was on the outside looking in. 1 win against what they call it, a quad 1 win, and now everybody is a quad 1 night. Everybody's talking about Arkansas in the tournament. And if this team just keep improving and making shots, this team start believing they could make a run, make a real run in this tournament.
You know, coming into the season, it was Coach Z up here and Zimmerman down here. Now Big Z's kind of raising up right here. Hey, talk about
4 good games in a row.
Talk about that.
He just played 4. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not only a 3-point shooter, he has been the guy at the rim that's the rim protector. I mean, he got beat sometimes, but he won a few battles against Williams and actually had him thinking that he was at the rim. He had to go through a 7-footer. But talk about how well he's played the last 4 games. He's taking the minutes now.
He's taking minutes. He was so good in the Missouri game, a good Missouri team that we lost to. But that's when he finally, in a league game, really played well. And then we come home and we beat Georgia. He played very well. And he was one of the few that played well against Oklahoma when we had that sad loss on a Saturday night. And then he takes it on the road. And I think the fact that we had really 5 guys with player ties to Kentucky and 3 that had played there, I think that helped us. It wasn't just one guy. It was all of them together. Strength in numbers. And you could feel that out of Adu, DJ, and especially Zimmerman. You could really see his confidence. He talked about, I'm going to play well here. I know it. I'm going to play very well. And he did that. And he was so good. He started, plays 25 minutes. And he did everything. He changed shots like he did. Amari Williams is really good.
Yeah.
But I thought he was better than I thought he was. I've seen him. I knew he was a darn good player, but he was bigger than
he's strong too.
Thought he was strong, but Big Z fought him. And in the second half, Amari had a little bit more trouble scoring against him. And I thought that everything Z did was so good in this game. He was confident. He made good baskets. He shot the ball well. He made good passes. He didn't turn the basketball over. I loved what he brought. And we was talking to Seth Greenberg this morning, and Seth Greenberg said Big Z could have a big game. He likes Texas's bigs, how they play. He thinks Z's going to be able to get out there and get open pretty often. He thinks Big Z could have a big ball game against Texas.
Well, the experts know more than we know. If you look at the draft board, Big Z is still on the draft board. So I think Big Z poses a problem for a lot of teams because you forget that he blocks shots, he runs the floor, but he's not your traditional big man. He don't go post up on the block. Big Z faces the bucket, and when he catches it and squares up, his jump shot looks just as good as Nelly Davis to me. So he is an X factor. He's a problem. Coach Richardson would say he's the guy that can cause you all kind of problems because he is very smart. He knows his role, and guess what? When he catches it, there's no hesitation in his shot. If he's open, he's shooting it. And he affects the game on both ends. He blocks shot. He alters shot. He makes great passes. He is the total package.
I love the fact that this team in the first half hit so many threes, but could have fallen in love with the 3 in the second half. I think they shot 8 threes in the second half. They pounded the ball. And that's growth, I think, because they would have early in the season probably taken the cheese and started throwing them up again. But they listened to Coach at halftime.
No, Coach Z told them what we talk about on the show, that they need to get downhill. Yeah. I think Coach Z may have taken the guards in the back on the plane and said, "Hey, get downhill."
And maybe that started with DJ Wagner setting the tone.
Yeah. Coach Z, who is your favorite player on the team to talk to? Who is your favorite player?
I love talking to Big Z because he's kind of a jokester and kind of kids around. So I like to visit with Big Z a lot. I get on to him about him taking my letter. He always gets the letter. I'm just in the trash can. But I love talking to him. I like talking to Billy. He's the kind of player that I used to coach a lot. Just a tough, hard-nosed, energy, effort guy. A lot of ties to Memphis. From Memphis originally, spent time in New Jersey. He's got toughness to him. I love those kind of guys. And I'll tell you who I like talking to is Carter Knox as well. He's a character. He's smart, man. He is smart, and he's fun to talk to. I like those guys the most.
Oh, Carter Knox. So that's the one when you was in Pine Bluff, you pulled him out and made him talk to you. I think it was Carter Knox, yes. Number 11?
Yeah, number 11. It was Carter, yeah.
Yeah. What I like about this team, and I don't mean to cut over you, Z, is
no, you're good.
At Kentucky, they look like they belong. Wasn't nobody celebrating, They were just playing the game and having fun. And I like that. That shows me that this team has confidence in each other. And we may have found the right five. I just think the three Kentucky guys and Nelly Davis and the other young man that's playing really good,
This is, I think, his 3 straight games for Knox over 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, his play's gone up so much, and he's just so much more. He played almost 34 minutes in this game as a true freshman, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. He was so good. But how about this, Sully? We're struggling. We're down 5 or 6 in the first half. Not struggling. We're playing very well.
Yeah.
But Kentucky was hitting shots. And Billy comes in. And Ernie, he hits that little mid-range right off the bat. Bang. And then he gets out on that break off the turnover.
Oh, my goodness.
He dunked on top of Jackson. And Jackson had a great game. But Jackson can't get to where Billy's going.
Yeah, Billy has a different ceiling.
Yeah. Bench like that.
Yeah, what percentage of Billy Richmond's baskets have been wow baskets? When he comes in, he's attacking the hoop. He doesn't care who's in the way.
No, he's a scorer. Billy knows he's not going to be in there long, but Billy gets downhill and try to score. I like that kid because he plays so hard. And when he stole that basketball, I said, there's no way he's going to get to the rim. And when he goes up and goes airborne and dunk it, I said, oh, that's amazing. That was amazing. And I don't know if it may even been a foul because the guy was in his landing space, so it could have been an and one.
I thought it was a foul.
Yeah, I thought it was a foul.
He reminds me of a left-handed he's a little bit like a left-handed Daryl Hawkins.
Yeah, love the Hawk. Whoa, bringing back memories now. Hey, let's talk about the expectations now heading to Texas. Everybody's hyped up about this team. I mean, the buzz had on this morning had Hunter Yurachek and they had
John Tyson.
I mean, slow that train now.
Everybody's ready.
But it's amazing. One win, and everybody has forgotten all of the games we lost earlier.
Yeah,
one win.
Well, Mark Pope said, and he said it's a great thing about this league. And look at him now. I mean, he comes up with that big win over Tennessee, and everybody's talking about all the big wins he's had this season, and then he lays an egg. This is like our friend at Ohio State winning the national championship, losing to Michigan. This is a bad look and a bad loss, losing to Cal. You're a 10-point favorite. They come in here with one conference win, and they basically run you out of Rupp Arena. It was never a game, really, as Z said, in the last 7 minutes.
No, he's correct. Z is correct.
Yeah.
That game was over with about the 8-minute
We didn't anticipate it, and we're homers.
Yeah.
Just think of what Kentucky fans going into that game had. That was the least of their expectations that Arkansas would come in and handle them like that.
Well, it was so much hype surrounding the basketball game with Coach Cal until I almost lost focus because they talked about him more than they did the game. Yeah. And I was like, I hope these kids go out and play hard for him today. And they did. And I think they played so hard for him. And I know he was excited. He was hollering at Billy saying, Billy, stop. Billy was excited, and he was too, for the win. But, you want
Billy
kids.
got a little rough on him.
Yeah, he got a little rougher, but hey, Billy is a kid from Memphis, and I played with those guys from Memphis, and they are very emotional guys. They play hard and they want to win, and Coach Cal and the staff have to understand those Memphis kids are a little different. It's something about when you cross the Mississippi River, but those kids play good, and I really like Billy Richmond.
Should we be worried about the minutes at all, Z, that these guys are logging 35, 38 minutes a game, the 4 players?
In 1990, yes. In 2000, yes. In 2015, yes. 2025, no. Because you look at these teams, Florida plays 7. Tennessee plays 8. They had to play 6 basically the other day. The team we played the other day had issues. Kentucky.
Yeah.
They got 2 guards out. One of them's probably not going to play all year. Kirk Krisha, transfer from Arizona/West Virginia. They had Butler out hurt. They had issues. They had depth issues. They were having to get deep in their bench. You look around, Mississippi State's playing 7 guys. Missouri plays 10 or 11.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of depth. Texas has some depth issues. And where we can really get after Texas is on the glass. Texas is towards the bottom in our league in all rebounding numbers. Offensive rebounding, defensive rebounding, total rebounding, rebounding margin. I think they're 15th out of 16. So, you got a chance to go down here, get on the glass a little bit and be a little more physical. We were physical against Kentucky.
Yeah.
There
we
go.
Physical against Texas.
Yeah. And another thing is with all of the media timeout and all of the reviews, you don't need but 5 now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great point.
they go to the monitor for everything now. They went to the monitor for a play that happened 3 minutes prior.
Yeah.
The guy gets hit. I'm like, wow. They go to the monitor. It's a lot of stoppage in men's college basketball. So I think now the way the game, all the media timeout, you probably can get away with 5 or 6 players.
Yeah,
You really can. And Sully, Razorbacks have fouled out like 2 all year.
Yeah, that is crazy, isn't it?
A dude fouled out once. Billy fouled out once. That's it. I mean,
Wow.
And we're playing 8 or 9 guys. Now we're playing 8, and nobody fouls out.
You mentioned rebounding. 2 things you can control are defense and rebounding. It's effort, and I think that's what they've got to do in each game because that shooting's gonna come and go. I mean, they're not a great shooting team. We hope we've turned a corner and they'll be better. But the days of us hitting 13 a game, I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that was that was a outlier.
That was.
Well, Sully, go ahead.
No, you go ahead on, Matt. I'm going to let you go first. I'm going to tell you what I think.
We were only making 5.7 3-pointers a game in the league.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we made 6 early, by the middle of the first half, we made 6. We made 13, and as you said, we only shot 7 of them in the second half. And so if we could just get to 8 or 9 every game would be great. Get above that 5 number. But the main thing this team's best at is driving, attacking the basket. And Dew and DJ, now Nelly, Billy can drive it, Carter can drive it. We got to have more. Continue those guys to work on attacking the basket, driving, and like you said, Nelly hit a pull-up jumper. We hadn't had a pull-up since we not hit a pull-up jumper since Boogie got hurt.
It's amazing, how a guy can really find his game when he goes back to what he's known for. At Florida Atlantic, Nelly was a 3-point shooter, but not mostly a 3-point. He shot more 2s, and so he went back to his game. But I keep saying, for this team to win, you got to get downhill, attack the basket, rebound, and just play smart basketball. The way you win on the road is force turnovers, and you don't have as many as the other team, and make a few free throws. And this game is going to come down to who gets to the free throw line. And I think we need to go attack Texas. I think Texas is a lot like Kentucky. They are a very finesse basketball team.
Well, they're ranked pretty good defensively. They're ranked, I think, decent defensively. They're not a bad defensive team overall, I think, in their stats. But something about Nelly, confidence. I don't think he lacks confidence at all because he continues to throw up the shots. He had team high 13 again on Saturday, so that's not an issue for him.
No. I like Nelly Davis, and I think Coach Cal do too. He kissed him in the dressing room. Did you see that?
I saw that.
Did you see Coach Cal kiss Nelly?
Yeah.
He was kissing him. And I think he was happy that this kid has finally,
well, he
maybe has found his niche.
He hears the talk,
He
knows he's not living up to the hype or even his expectations.
Yeah. prediction.
And the expectations at Arkansas are high. You know, they talk a lot about Kentucky and what Kentucky, Big Blue Nation, but Arkansas has won a national championship too. And we have high expectations and dreams. And that's sometimes hard on the players, and they have to learn to adjust to it. But Nelly is a very confident guy. And he was shooting 27% from the field in SEC games, Sully. 27%. And he still shoots it anytime he wants to because he feels like it's going to go in. And I've heard him say multiple times this year in practice or when they're around that he's like, I'm getting ready to bust out. I'm going to have a big game.
Good.
Wait till the next game and see what I do. And guys like that have confidence. They know they can do it. I already talked about how he did it at Florida Atlantic, and he helped lead them to a Final Four. Florida Atlantic made the Final Four. Wow. They wouldn't have made that without John L. Davis. So we know what he's capable of. And I think now, here in February, he's found that, and he's even more confident than he was in November and December and January when he was shooting the ball like Steve Sullivan in the driveway out there in West Lure.
You know, John Davis has went from, as my daddy would say, from the outhouse to the in-house. A couple weeks ago, we was wondering, where is he going to ever show up? He showed up on the biggest stage of the year, which was the Kentucky Wildcats.
Well, I hope Mark Pope is right in that he has turned the corner. I mean, and he might have something. His reasoning is, you know, he played a certain way at Florida Atlantic with the ball a lot, and he's done it at Arkansas for a couple of games. He's finally comfortable. And I hope he just wasn't spinning just to just to justify his performance. I hope he really believes that. But it's going to be.
I think he will.
It put some juice back into the season. That's what it did.
We
were in a lull, and now people are excited about Hog Hoops again.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Z.
You're always welcome. I just love talking Razorback basketball with both of y'all.
And people don't know that he changed his outfit to put on that red jacket before we started this.
Oh, he loved it. He don't like the white. He always wears the red.
I like the red better.
He likes to wear the red.
All right.
Sometimes my red's dirty, so I got to go with something else once in a while.
And thank you, Ernie. It was great to talk about that 1990 team, and maybe we'll talk about them a little later this season. But thank both of you guys, and thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Hog Central Podcast. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Hog Central Podcast. New episodes drop weekly on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts.